Yeah. Pro Fan Sports Podcast. Let's get it. Pro fans, tune into the program. Every single week, get the dope, fam. Sean on the mic, very flat too. Keep you updated, that's what we do. Pro fans, tune into the program. Pro fans, tune into the program. Pro fans, tune into the program. Every single week, get the dope, fam.
All right, welcome back everybody to Kauffman Sports Podcast. This is episode 81, and with us we have Adam, Kauffman, and obviously Barry. John will join us later. John will join us a little bit later. But welcome to the show, Adam.
I feel bad for Barry. I mean, you practically sang my name introducing me, and it was like, and also Barry.
Right. I know, man.
Hey, it's good. Look, it's good to be important. It's good to be the featured guest. I apprecie it.
Right.
The fans already know Barry, and they know what Barry brings. But with us, we have a special guest, so it's important to enunciate the special guest and sing the special guest. But Adam is, Adam, you're the sports director at iHeartRadio, and you're a beat writer for CLNS Media. You work for NBC Sports Boston as well. You're everywhere, man. Tell us what's going on. What's the hot news these days?
I try and stay busy. Yeah, I mean, look, you guys know the hot news, right? Red Sox playoffs, which we're sort of all keeping an eye on as we talk in Game 4 right now. Hopefully the Sox can close out the Rays and avoid a Game 5 and move on to the ALCS, either get the White Sox or the Astros. But beyond that, all the Patriots and Mac Jones talk, the Bruins setting their roster for the upcoming year.
All of it.
So all the Celtics discussion, the revolution of the best team in Major League Soccer. We had the Boston Marathon early today.
Right.
I mean,
and they just made the playoffs.
There's no time to sleep. And just to put that out there with the marathon coverage earlier today, guys, if I should happen to say anything dumb, which I might, I usually do, but if I say anything stupid during this podcast, just know that it's because I've literally been up, quick math, I've been up for
I'm
gonna say like 36 out of the last 38 hours.
Oh my goodness!
God!
I'm a little tired. But it's okay. I'm here with you. That gives me the enthusiasm that I need.
Well, we truly appreciate.
And hey, the Red Sox just hit a 3-run homer, so now I'm really feeling great.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
That's gonna give you the energy.
That's what's up.
That's gonna give you the energy to do the podcast. That's it.
That's right. That's just Raffy scoops, baby. That's all we need.
Yes, Raffy Devers.
Thank you again for joining us. So, how far do you think these Red Sox can get?
Well, I mean, you look at them right now, obviously, and you say, how can they not win the World Series? The way they're going, team of destiny. Nothing like the team we were talking about a week and change ago, when they were just fighting and limping into the playoffs, basically. But look, I mean, if we're talking realistically, they clearly have overachieved by every measure. I mean, don't forget, like going back to the start of the year. Now, I was confident that they were going to be a playoff team. I thought they'd be a team that probably won in the upper 80s, but not a lot of people felt that way. That this was like sports books. Yeah. Most of them had them at, I want to say the over-under for wins was like 80.5. In some places, maybe even high 70s. They went out and they won 92 games, guys. And then they beat the Yankees in the one-game play-in, obviously, the wild card playoff game. And now, the 100-win Rays, they might. It's early. It's still early, and the Rays are, they got a potent offense. But, they might knock off Tampa in 4 games to advance to the ALCS. And then you look at the other teams. Houston's up, I think 2-1 in that series, maybe 3-1 now, and in which case obviously they would have already advanced. But we know the Astros the likely winner if they haven't done it already, because I didn't check on the afternoon game. But we know Houston is really, really good. The White Sox obviously are really, really good as well. It's not going to be any sort of easy road to a championship. But look, I'm just kind of enjoying the ride, and I think I do believe in some of that stuff, that teams of destiny and karma and magic and yada, yada, yada. So look, I hope that they keep on playing and give us some good entertainment for another month.
How important is momentum in baseball? Do you believe that's a thing in baseball?
I think it can be a thing. I
Mm-hmm.
don't think it's a. I don't think it's a thing in the way that I guess it's a terrible way to sort of categorize it, but I'm a bigger believer in it in hockey and basketball.
Mm.
Football, I'm not a big believer in momentum with the games being once a week and a week apart. Baseball, I guess where I believe in momentum, it's not so much what happens on the field as just the confidence. You think back to '04 and Kevin Millar with before Game 4, like, don't let us get hot, don't let us win Game 4, and obviously the ALCS, they beat the Yankees, only team to ever come back from down 3-0. They win that series and they go and they sweep the World Series. I do think that I believe in confidence. I do believe in confidence. And if you want to attribute confidence and momentum as being the same thing, then sure, in that sense, I believe it. I just don't necessarily believe in it game to game because, every game you have a different starting pitcher.
Exactly.
It's like if it doesn't matter to some degree how hot the offense is if Eduardo Rodriguez goes out tonight and sucks, and it's like you lose 8-7. Yeah, your offense was great. You still lost 8-7. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Well, welcome
Absolutely,
to
man.
the
That's
show,
all
John.
facts.
Thank you, guys. Can
Yes,
you hear me?
welcome, John.
Good to see you, man.
Yes, we can hear
My
you.
camera's jumping all over the place. There we go.
Yep,
Yeah,
definitely.
we're Adam. We're
Bobblehead
talking
sitting
about
up
baseball.
top.
We're talking about the Red Sox and them getting hot and them possibly winning the World Series. Did you have any Red Sox question, Barry?
Yes, I did. So, our Red Sox question is, so wanted to talk about the starting pitching, because it seems to me like they only really have one reliable and dependable starter in Nathan Eovaldi, and then it's the rest of the guys. So, does that concern you? The inconsistency or not being effective and lack of production we've got and from the starting pitching, or do you think they can be able to survive and go deep into the playoffs? With the starting pitching not doing well to this point.
I guess I have two different answers. One is, to the second part of your question. Yeah, I believe that they can survive and continue to excel because, to this point, sort of against all odds, they have, right? Like they got nothing out of their start. Well, Nathan Eovaldi and obviously Nick Pivetta in relief of, starting pitcher during the regular season. Like Eovaldi was very, very good yesterday, but Chris Sale was junk in game 2, and they still won that game. So, Eduardo Rodriguez, and I know they lost game 1, but it's, as bad as he was, like the offense gave you nothing. I guess my point is I came into this game here tonight, and so far so good. Eduardo Rodriguez looked great, but I came into this game with very little confidence in Eduardo Rodriguez because of how inconsistent he is and because of what we saw from him his last start earlier this series. But then you get these nights like this where it looks like he's just locked in. He's nails. Everything is precision and movement and on the black and exactly, what you're looking for from him. And I just don't believe that Chris Sale, even though he hasn't looked right in a month, is done, wait till next year. I think he can still give you something. I really do believe that. Eovaldi, I have complete confidence and trust in. Red Sox added another one. It's 4-0. And, I'm hoping, obviously, that Eduardo Rodriguez continues with what he's doing here tonight. And those are your guys. And obviously, you get into – this is a best of 5. You get into a best of 7. It's, Pivetta's either going to be involved or Houck is going to be involved. Probably Houck, because I think they really like what Pivetta's given them in relief right now. But I do think they have the potential. But I'd be lying if I said it didn't concern me. How could it not concern you? I mean, their rotation matched up with, just about anybody's who's still playing at this point is not nearly as imposing or intimidating. But, to use a football cliche, any given Sunday, and these guys can give it to you on any given night.
Yeah. For sure, absolutely. It's certainly been impressive on, how good this bullpen has been. Like you said, the Tanner Houks, the, Nick Pavettas, who had, inspiring and, an incredible performance yesterday, going 4 innings and, and really being able to, shut down the Rays and not let them, score any runs and, and pretty much hold down the fort for, the Sox until they got that, walk-off in the 13th. So that was definitely impressive, from what we've seen from them to this point, from bullpen-wise. I certainly agree with you. It concerns me from what we've seen from, like, the other starters, to this point, like the E-Rods and the, Chris Sales. I'm hoping they can get it together. E-Rod's looking pretty good tonight. Hopefully he can keep that going moving forward, as the Red Sox advance further into the playoffs, particularly if they win tonight. Chris Sale, man, like, I don't know, guys. I kind of, like, think he's done. Like, I don't really have, like, much
done for this year.
In him. At least for this year. I don't, maybe possibly, even going, like, further than that. Like, I don't know if we're going to see him perform and pitch at that anywhere close to the same level he was before the Tommy John surgery, because he looks like a shell of himself out there. Like, he looked like a liability.
It's hard to ramp it up after
like,
2 years of not
washed,
playing, though. I mean, that's 2 full years away from competitive Major League Baseball and well over a year of even throwing a ball. So I don't know. I'm not writing him off. I get it. I get the skepticism. I definitely do. And anyone who's looking at his contracts and saying, I understand. But I'm not writing him off. I'm not writing him off for this postseason, but I'm definitely not writing him off for next year.
Well, we only have Adam for another probably 15 more minutes. John, I don't know if you had one more Red Sox question that you wanted to ask before we move to football, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Adam, nice to meet you, man. Thanks for coming on.
Man? Welcome to the show.
It's 2021. Everything is, the technology.
Tell me
you gotta
about
live
it.
and die with it. You know what I'm saying? So
that's right.
My computer just started updating itself all of a sudden. Like, Jesus
worst.
Christ. So I'm on my iPad now. Did we talk about what happened last night? With the ground rule double there.
Fate intervened. That's what happened last night. God's a Red Sox fan.
I kind of likened
the
it
baseball
to,
gods, man. We're on that side. Thank God.
I was on Twitter last night, and I was like, did we just see the baseball version of the tuck rule just happen there? Like, what the heck was that?
If they go on to win this series and like, heaven forbid, according to like everybody else in baseball, obviously, if they win the World Series, absolutely people are going to be looking back on it that way. And I tweeted that same thing at the time. I guess here's how you can look at it. I mean, it's a wonky, fluky, weird rule that obviously the Red Sox were, I hesitate to even use the term take advantage of, because the rule was right. And much like it was, with the tuck rule and Brady back in 2001, like the Patriots didn't get the benefit of the doubt or something like that. It was the right call by the letter of the law of the rule book. The question really becomes, and this is sort of where like your point comes into play, will it be the baseball tuck rule for the Red Sox? Is if Major League Baseball, a la the NFL, steps in after the season, reviews the rule and changes it. Says like, you know what? This rule's kind of stupid. And, sure, it's a ground rule double. There's no doubt that's a ground rule double. In any situation, it's been that way for years. That's absolutely a ground rule double. The debate is, should there be umpire discretion as to that runner? Because obviously that runner would have scored. But instead, it says right there in the rule book, there's no discretion. So umpire, has to send Diaz back to third. And Red Sox, Pivetta, like, they got out of the jam, they got out of the inning, and the rest is history, obviously. But I do think this could be a rule that's reviewed in the offseason, and the language of it is changed a little bit, like it was with the tuck rule. Because this is not, this is far from the first time we've seen this. Like, I mean, the Rays 2 years ago in a regular season game against the Blue Jays saw this. It's why Kevin Cash didn't argue it. Like, he's been on the other side of this, and he's seen this before. He said, that's the rule. You're like, what are you going to do? So while a lot of people were out there like Kevin Kiermaier post-game and saying, I've never seen anything like that. Even the broadcasters didn't have any bleeping idea what was happening. You know, if you were watching the game on MLB Network, whatever it was on, they didn't have a clue. It was like, you know, I'm sitting there thinking like this. I mean, we see this, you know, not usually in the outfield, you know, often right, but how often's a ball hit down the line and it ricochets off a guy's glove out of play and it's a ground rule double? This is not new. This is not something we've never encountered the way it was talked about on the broadcast. What makes it, again, to use the word again, wonky, is just the whole discretion element and whether or not the runner should have scored. And obviously, again, letter of the law, he shouldn't have. But in the future, will there be umpire discretion? That remains to be seen.
Well, absolutely. I mean, I was sitting there. I'm like, if I'm a Rays fan, I'm pretty upset last night. But you know, I'm a Red Sox fan.
Just a
so
bad break.
You know, I'm happy that happened.
Yeah.
But I believe we're moving on to. Well, we haven't talked about the Patriots, have we?
We should, yeah.
You know,
yeah, let's
Adam,
talk Pats. Yeah.
You know, I think you're probably one of the guys that come on here that's, you know, we relate to a little bit more than others because we're onto all the Boston sports around here. So some people come in and they talk about Celtics, you know, Red Sox, but you can talk about everything. You know, I can see it in your tweet and stuff like that. Yesterday's game was putrid.
Frustrating?
In my opinion. It was very, you know,
to say the least, that may even be an understatement.
Yeah. Yesterday's game or the whole season?
Also fair.
I mean,
right, yeah, exactly.
Or the past 3 years.
I mean, if you think about the whole season, you know, we're a couple plays from being like 3-1 right now, right? You know, with the fumble in the first game and then the missed field goal against, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, we could be pretty good if those things fall our way. But yesterday we were pretty putrid in the first 3 quarters, I would say, right? And we made Davis Mills look like, you know, the second coming of Tom Brady there, you know, it seemed like. And
for real, seriously.
I was tweeting about it and, you know, I think some guy actually tweeted that at me. They're like, yeah, this is going to be Tom Brady. Talking about Davis Mills. I'm like,
yeah, I mean, he's not. And look, that's not even slighting Davis Mills. Nobody is going to be Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Right.
Patrick Mahomes is not going to be Tom Brady. There's never going to be another Tom Brady. So you know, people need to stop with that, obviously. But, you know, as far as Davis Mills goes, I mean, I saw this stat and it, you know, we always talk about so much about like Belichick's defensive dominance of rookie or second year quarterbacks in the league going back 20 some years. And Davis Mills is the first ever quarterback to pass for 300 plus yards and 3 touchdowns and no interceptions against the Patriots as, you know, obviously as a rookie. So it's, you know, it's,
Crazy,
like no one, 5-0 Sox, by the way. Nobody would have,
there we go. Another one.
Nobody would have anticipated that, especially with what is just such a bad Houston Texans team. And I know they won week 1 and they've been terrible since, not that they were even good week 1, but it's a bad team. It's a terrible rebuilding team. The difference is, you know, our Patriots are not rebuilding. They're rebuilt. You know, like they went out and spent, you know, $160 million or whatever it was in the offseason that they reloaded. This is a team that should absolutely at worst right now be 3-2 instead of 2-3. That's worst case. You know, like you had to have the Miami game. Harris almost blew it this one as well with another fumble.
Absolutely.
Oh my God.
And you know, the New Orleans game was extraordinarily winnable. Hell, the Bucs game, you know, if Folk, and I'm not faulting Folk. That was a 56-yard kick in the rain. I'm not faulting him. But obviously it was a very winnable game. Like, you know, the Patriots are – I heard somebody say this the other day, and I think it's absolutely true. A lot of the breaks that have gone against the Patriots, you know, like Folk missing the kick, the Harris fumbles, all these little things that have led to Patriots losses this year are the things that for basically 2 decades went their way. You know, when Tom Brady was like Tom Brady left, and like so did the magic little unicorn that made them, you know, get all of these things so frequently. So like this is a team that, you know, with a few lucky bounces, basically they're 5-0, And we could still be sitting
Right.
saying this isn't a very good team, but the record would be a hell of a lot better than it is currently. But they could just as easily be 1-4 or 0-5. It's just like every game has really kind of looked like that.
Do you think the play calling is kind of like killing us? You know, as far as like when we're down in the
we're talking offense,
in the red
obviously.
zone, offense, obviously, when we're down in the red zone and, you know, we're not really taking many shots and, you know, some of the play calls, I think we called like 3 straight screens or something like that, at one point in the game in the red zone. I'm like, what are we doing? And, you know, Mac Jones threw his first red zone touchdown, like into the end zone. It's the first time he did it all season. I mean, you think the play calling has some issues there?
So I think in an overall sense, Josh McDaniels has not done a poor job with Mac Jones. They're very clearly bringing him along slowly, and he's a rookie, and they want to try and limit potential mistakes. And instead, it's other guys who are making mistakes, you know, when he's trying to keep it safe. So I get where you or anyone else is coming from who feels that way, or me a lot of the time as well when I'm out there tweeting about it. My thing, I guess, with this is that while I love Damian Harris. Like, I think he's important. I think he's going to be important. I think he's very good. I'm not one of those, oh my God, why did they trade Sony Michel? Like, it's Damian Harris is the guy.
I am. I was definitely overreacting yesterday.
Yeah, and I get it from a ball security standpoint, but I just don't think you need both of those guys. And at least you got something for Michel before losing him, you know, for nothing or for almost nothing, compensatory pick or something when you don't, you know, re-sign him in the offseason because he's in the final year, obviously, of his rookie deal. So you send him away and you get something. But, you know, I say all that to say this. I think the sort of blessing in disguise, and thank goodness he isn't seriously hurt, but the blessing in disguise to Damian Harris going down, you know, getting banged up in that game was they stopped running the ball and forced Mac Jones to throw it. Finally trusted Mac Jones to throw the ball, and that's what led them back. Like, I'm convinced they don't win that game. They don't go on such a long, methodic drive, you know, certainly in the fourth quarter, but even much of what they were doing in the second half, if all of a sudden they just keep pounding the rock and feeding it to Damian, because they're not ready. Bill Belichick's not ready to do that with Ramondre Stevenson or even Brandon Bolden. So as soon as Harris went down, it was like, okay, like, Mac, we need you. And Mac Jones has been ready for this. He has been ready for this. I trust in Mac Jones. I like Mac Jones. I believe in Mac Jones. Mac Jones has been very good. Mac Jones we all collectively, I think I'm speaking for all of you and many Pats fans, like, we have confidence in Mac Jones.
Yeah,
go out there and just let him do his thing. Let him do his thing. Don't let him do to the point. Like, don't let him be Trevor Lawrence or Zach Wilson and, you know, and be like reckless out there. You can keep him controlled and still allow him to pass the ball. Keep feeding the tight ends. They're fine. Like, I've been screaming that since, you know, the preseason, like, feed the tight ends. And obviously Jonnu Smith didn't get a ton of work yesterday, but at least when a ball was thrown his way, he caught it. And Hunter Henry was targeted, 8 times? Like, keep going, feed the tight ends, and this can be a successful team. Like, this team's, you know, playoff dreams are not over. Now, if they'd started 1-4, if they lost to Houston, you know, we're having a different conversation right now, but they're 2-3 in a 17-game season with an extra playoff spot compared to what existed for so many years. This team can absolutely make the playoffs.
Absolutely. And what's crazy, guys, is, like, it just hit me today, particularly after that loss last night of the Chiefs. The Chiefs are 2-3. We have the same record as the Kansas City
what's
Chiefs,
their problem?
Supposed to be the best team in football.
Yeah, they're pretty good, I guess.
They are. No, certainly they're a talented team, but they have their own issues too, particularly on defense. It's like they can't stop a nosebleed. You know what I'm saying? That defense shoot, like, my God, it's gotten at least 10 times worse than last year. Like, they definitely haven't gotten better and haven't improved on the defensive side of the ball. And when you give up 38 points like they did last night, I mean, you're not going to win very many football games, even with the high-powered and explosive offense that you have, you know, with Pat Mahomes and Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce and the crew there. But, no, just getting back to the Patriots, enough with the Chiefs, because we're here to talk Pats. and stuff. Just wanted to ask you, Adam, how confident are you in Bill Belichick still? Because we kind of starting to see a trend here that the team's not really playing well and not winning like close games, and games that they you expect them to win handily, like yesterday. It's been like that for a while, particularly without since Tom Brady's left in about a year and a half ago. So do you think like Belichick's like the same coach without Brady, and he can still like win games that he's supposed to and expected to win?
And to piggyback on Barry's question, because I know you got to leave pretty soon. And what's going on with the uncharacteristic mistake of the team? Just a lot of
every week
there's too many men in the field.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up. Like last year,
Belichick coach team just doesn't make those mistakes usually.
No,
Facts.
they don't. Last year I kind of write it off last year as a COVID year. Honestly, the talent on that team was so bad on the whole. Obviously, there were exceptions, but with the opt-outs, the guys they lost, before all these offseason additions this year, that team, and obviously Cam at quarterback, who obviously was not up for the challenge, that team was so bad that I sort of credit Belichick for even being able to win 7 games with that roster, if I'm being honest.
Crazy.
I don't think a lot of coaches around the league could have done that. But if you're looking at this year, when they are so much more talented than they were last year and have such a better quarterback than they had last year, and all those opt-out guys, or at least the ones that, like Patrick Young, retired, but Dante Hightower, others, that these guys are back, that are in your system again, and they are. It's less about not winning close games. It's more about the mistakes, and obviously it's not Bill Belichick's fault if a guy is fumbling into the end zone. When it happens a couple of times, right, and all of a sudden Belichick isn't. It's not that same Belichick standard that always existed, where like preaching ball security and you lose a ball and in a crucial spot and you're benched. Like Damian Harris hasn't been benched yet. Ramondre Stevenson was benched and immediately placed in the doghouse in week 1. Didn't play again until yesterday.
J.J. Taylor,
for sure. But like he's just he's not gonna bench Damian Harris and look to somebody else, at least so far. The defensive mistakes, the penalties. I mean, these are Belichick teams are supposed to be more. They're supposed to be more well-disciplined, better disciplined than what we've seen to this point. And you're right, uncharacteristic penalties week after week. It's been very frustrating to watch. And that stuff and lack of game plan or not being ready, like they clearly weren't in Houston, that does come back to coaching. So am I ready to fire Bill Belichick? I'm not. It usually takes even when Brady was here, and a lot of that, Brady was a part of obviously what turned them around when they started slow in the rare times that they did. But even when they were winning and didn't look great, it would take a month or so for this team to kind of gel and find its identity. Well, now we're at that point in this season. We got to see what this team's identity is, and we don't have a clue.
Absolutely. I think we got one more minute here with you, Adam. As the sports director, I think, I'm just going to take a chance here. As a sports director at iHeartRadio, right, what will it take for Pro Fan Sports to get, your attention to put us on iHeartRadio?
Oh, man. I mean, you're talking.
Great question, John. I like that. That.
You're talking about decisions that are made well above my pay grade, my friend. But,
so we got to find that guy.
Yeah, you got to find that guy. You got to obviously get yourself into, who knows? Like, I'll tell you this about iHeart. They got a lot of podcasts, at iHeart, and so who knows?
We're on there.
An opportunity to join the iHeart Sports Network, right? I got to get me a podcast on the iHeart Sports Network.
There you go. Yes, definitely, man.
I'm going to have to co-host with you guys every week, and we'll put that on the iHeart Sports Network.
I'm down for that.
With the Sox up 5-0, I'm almost afraid to even get off this call if I didn't have to go.
My last question is, how was the marathon today?
Awesome. Right. It was great. It was very different than it typically is, but obviously with about half the runners they normally have, 15,000 or so across the finish line. It's typically in the in the neighborhood of 30,000, but it was great. It was a lot of fun. Not as many people came out, obviously, as typically happens. I think part of that is just the fact that it was in October, maybe wasn't as well publicized, but it's always a great event, and we'll do it again in April the way we're used to doing it.
Absolutely.
Right.
Nice. That's awesome.
Adam, thank you so much for coming on. We really appreciate you spending a little
pleasure,
time.
guys. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. This was great. This was awesome. We'll
definitely.
have to
We'll do
bring
it
you
again
on
for
and
sure.
Definitely. I was just gonna say it took the words right out of my mouth for sure. But no, that'll be a pleasure and an honor to have you on a Pro Fan Sports podcast. So we greatly appreciate you coming on here and giving us your time and talking sports with us. And
I look forward to it.
And for sure, man. We'll definitely do it again sometime in the future. We'll hit you back up and bring you on here because I'm sure me and the guys have more questions to ask you. But I know you got to get going. So we'll
sounds great.
Definitely catch you on the flip side for sure. But it was a pleasure meeting you, Adam. Thank you so much.
Enjoy the Red Sox
Thanks
game,
again.
man.
Yeah, go Sox. Finish it off.
Yes,
Sox.
go
Let's
Sox,
go.
man.
Let's go.
Sox in 4.
That's
you already
right.
know. They're
See you
winning
guys
the World
later.
Series, right?
On to the World Series. Well, they make the World Series. We'll talk again for sure.
We'll be hitting you up again, definitely.
Good.
No doubt. You already know.
All right, guys. We'll see you.
All right,
All right, see you, Adam. Have a good night. Take care.
You too.
Nice.
What a guy, huh? Adam.
Yeah,
Adam
great
Kauffman.
guy.
No, thank you guys for starting off the show. I don't know what's happening with these computers over here. So came in on a great conversation. And if you're still watching, make sure you're supporting the channel by subscribing to the channel. Make sure you're sharing the content, commenting, hate, like, subscribe, whatever you like. We appreciate it all. But yeah, man. So let's discuss the yesterday's game a little bit. How disappointed were you guys in the game? Because I know I was going crazy, firing off tweets, left and right on Twitter yesterday.
I seen them tweets too, John. Your tweet game has been on fire, bro. You in your bag with your tweet game, man. Like,
facts, man.
Dude, your Patriots definitely got you feeling some type of way, and in your feelings like Drake, huh?
Listen, if you're on Twitter, make sure you're following us at Pro Fan Sports. We're on Instagram too, ProFans_sports. But yeah, man. I mean, we watched the games together a couple times. But how are you guys feeling though?
Just I think I've lessened my expectation of what the Patriots are.
Absolutely.
Like it's just not the same anymore. Like the days where I turn on the TV and if I miss like 5 minutes, we're already up by 14. We're already up 14-0. Those days are over. I'm trying
gone.
to say. So I mean, honestly, I was watching it. I was definitely frustrated, but I don't know. In some way, I'm just like, I'm glad we won. Like, I don't know. It's almost like, shit, at least we won. Like, it was super frustrating. You just wanted, I think I just wanted Mac Jones to be allowed to play more. And better play call in the end zone, like we were just talking about earlier. Like those runs in the end zone, I'm like, bro, this is not it. Like, let's throw the ball.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I feel as though, like, while I was watching the game, I was just like, this is the new Patriots.
Oh,
and
man.
the only thing I was really
Vlad. Oh man.
The only thing I was really impressed by is Judon. Really, Judon just causing havoc, getting that last ball, after that fumble or whatever the hell they were trying to do there.
Yeah,
Judon saved us.
Right.
Exactly.
Judon saved us going into the second half when he had 2 straight sacks. And in 3 plays, he had 2 sacks. You know what I'm saying? And the Texans only got a field goal out of that, instead of scoring on us again, because Judon came out and actually saved us. I feel like if they scored on us there, I don't think we come back like the way.
Dude, that would have been ball game, right?
Exactly.
They would have won that game yesterday.
Exactly. So that was my only saving grace. Besides that, I was just like, yo, this is the new Patriots, man. We suck.
Oh my God.
Damn, oh God, I know, for real, man.
Because I was like, yo, is it this?
Vlad.
I was like, yo, is it this
man.
guy rookie? Like, Dave Mills, isn't this guy? I'm pretty sure this is a rookie. And I was like,
Yo,
this is a rookie.
like,
What the hell is
He
going
is a
on
rookie,
here?
right?
you guys making him look like Dan Marino, dog.
Yeah,
I'm
I
like,
was like, yo,
what is
what is-
happening?
What is
For
going
real.
on? Yeah. And some of those plays, like that play where he scrambled out of the pocket, threw the ball. I think the guy's name is Something More.
More. A practice squad dude.
Exactly.
Right.
Jesse Jackson jumped trying to deflect the ball, and then Devin McCourty took the weirdest angle, and he did score.
Yeah.
It was like, what is going on, man?
Yeah, man. Devin McCourty played a bad game yesterday,
He's
man.
been playing a
It
lot of
was
bad
brutal.
games.
Awful.
Devin McCourty, I think that kid Juwan Williams, they don't put him on the field
trash.
anymore. You know what I'm saying? Because he's the one that fucked up that flea flicker. You know what I'm saying? I get it.
Right. What the fuck was he doing, John? What was he doing? Like, bruh. like, are you kidding me?
Listen, man, we're the Buffalo Bills of like 5 years ago.
Yo, the
God,
Bills,
John.
the Buffalo
That's
Bills,
what it's really come to, guys.
The Buffalo Bills are the Patriots.
the Buffalo Bills looks amazing. I was watching that game. Yo, the funny thing is, I got home last night mad late. I was out, and then I was like, yo, does it say halftime report? What is going on? That game was delayed for like an hour.
Yo,
I
I was on Twitter. I was like, yo, is it me or is this halftime like a fucking hour long? I'm like, what is happening? And people are like, oh, it's a rain delay. I'm like, oh shoot, I need to pay more attention.
And then I ended up watching the rest of that game, and I was like, yo, the Bills look amazing.
Listen,
They look amazing.
they are the team to beat.
Didn't they have two shutout already this year?
They had two what?
shutout?
Like, didn't they beat two teams by 0 points this year?
They shut out the Texans last week.
40 zip.
40 zip.
Right.
No, I thought they killed the Redskins 40 zip too.
Oh no, it was the Dolphins that they shut out. It was the Dolphins.
And the Dolphins
They
and
beat
the
them
Redskins.
35 zip. The Miami Dolphins and the Texans.
Well, the Bills looks amazing.
Yeah, that's crazy.
The Bills look amazing.
Josh Allen is hurdling motherfuckers left and right. Like it's like what is happening? He's good, man. He's really good. And
he's good. He's looking like the MVP of the season so far.
So guys, the Bills beat the Dolphins 35-0.
Mm-hmm.
They also beat the Texans 40-0.
Yep. And then they put 38 on the Chiefs last night. Like they are buddy.
Right, even though that defense is trash, it's still impressive to score 38 against Kansas City.
Listen, I wouldn't even just put it on Kansas City defense. Like the offense is doing some weird shit too over there, man. They're not like they're doing some really weird stuff over there.
What is going on? What's their problem?
I don't know, man. Maybe they've had too much success and they think they're just gonna go out there and just beat everybody, but
Yes, it looks like cocky for sure. They definitely need to be humbled, and I'm glad they're being humbled because they've gotten arrogant and and their heads are just freaking.
Patrick
so
Mahomes
big.
Thinks he can throw the ball any which way he feels like throwing it. It's like, buddy,
He thinks he's the next Brady.
I don't know.
He really thinks he's the next Brady.
He thinks he's better than Brady. To be honest,
he's the next Aaron Rodgers, maybe.
Maybe
he ain't the next Brady.
No, nobody's the next Brady, like Adam said earlier for sure. But guys, we have the high octane, the high powered offense coming next week, man, in the Dallas Cowboys, right?
Oh, real quick, John.
Go ahead.
I just had there's some comments before we get to the Cowboys, or as I like to call them, the Cowgirls.
You're gonna jinx us already.
No, I really refer to them as the Cowgirls. That's why I texted y'all yesterday saying that we're on to the Cowgirls. Because I've always referred to them as that. I'm surprised you haven't heard other people refer
I hear
to
it all
the
the time.
Cowboys as the Cowgirls.
I hear it all the time. But go ahead.
But just real quick before we do the preview of that game, just on what we saw yesterday. It's crazy that the second best defensive player on the Pats is Jalen Mills because they missed him badly yesterday in that secondary. And we've, definitely felt like appreciated, on how good, he's been, in the first 4 games before, being inactive and missing, yesterday's game and stuff. Because, right, that secondary got picked apart and shredded by, like you said, mediocre at best, freaking rookie, quarterback and stuff. Like, it was just, flat out embarrassing and disgraceful, that performance that they put on and stuff. And it's like, not only was the secondary bad, but I don't know, to me, like, the front 7 guys, they just look like they're slow. Particularly, like, the linebackers, man, like, there's not, like, a lot of, like, speed and, and not a lot of guys, that can actually, like, make those game-changing plays and, like, enforce turnovers. Because it's like only Matt Judon is the only one that's consistently actually making plays and actually, making his presence felt and, and actually, making some sort of impact on, the front 7. Because it's like everybody else is like, bro, what's up with Hightower and Van Noy and stuff? Like, what are they doing? Like, where have they been at? I'm not hearing their name called. When I'm watching the game, you used to always hear their names being called, like all game long. And now it's like you barely even hear them and see them. Like, where they been at, bro?
I mean, those 2 guys that you're talking about, I think Van Noy's definitely lost a step, and Hightower, I don't think sitting out a year has helped him at all. And he definitely looks like he's lost a step. And, I've seen people talking about, he might retire next year. And at this rate, like,
honestly,
I wouldn't even be surprised.
Should.
You know what I'm saying?
Wouldn't shock me, yeah.
You know what looks better than those guys? The guy that we just got, what's his name?
Jamie Collins?
Jamie Collins.
Right. And Jamie Collins was on the field. He was on the field for like 3 plays yesterday.
And he got a sack.
He didn't even play that much.
And he got a sack.
Right.
He blew Davis Mills
up
yesterday, man.
Yeah,
I was like, yo,
yes.
that was
a huge play.
But like we were saying, because we had the show, so I don't want to be too long. Next week, do we have a chance against the Cowboys?
No.
Cowgirls, like Barry's saying, at all?
The Cowgirls.
The Cowboys at all. The Cowboys are playing really well. They only lost to Tampa, and they barely lost to Tampa. They could have beaten Tampa, honestly. They could have been 5-0. They're playing really well right now. Dak is unbelievable. No, I don't see any way we win that game. If we win that game, man,
it's like we only prepared to play Buccaneers this year, and then every other game it's like
we don't give a fuck.
And we still lost that game.
And we lost it, but like at least it looked like the Patriots. You know what I'm saying? It's
exactly.
So did you guys only worry about one game on the fucking schedule?
About Brady. Belichick just circled that Brady game.
That's it. Everybody circled that Brady game, and then everything
put
else
all his
like,
energy and focus towards that.
Listen, we're gonna be playing for draft position.
For sure. And that's. Oh God! Don't tell me that, John. Already,
listen, if this is how we're gonna play, we're gonna be playing for draft.
That's who we are now.
If we're playing like we are now,
what?
We're gonna be playing for draft position, man.
With the New York Jets and freaking what lousy team like the Jaguars and the Lions and all those bum ass shitty garbage lousy, you know what I'm saying? Putrid teams. Like,
buddy,
that's who we are. That's what we've become. We're on that same level as them. Like, are you kidding me? Like, what?
Prior to yesterday, we had the same record as the Jets, man.
That's true.
What are you talking about? Like, we are the Jets. Like, I don't know.
Oh God! Don't tell me that, John. I don't want to hear that shit, man.
I mean, if we lose, we might. Man, if the Jets comes in. I was surprised we playing the Jets so fast, because we just played the Jets
2 times already.
Yeah, Somebody was telling me, the Jets game coming up. I was like, nah, we just played the Jets. What are you talking about?
Exactly.
Right, we should
But
play them at the end of the year, but
yeah, exactly. But anyways, I was gonna say that because we're assuming we're gonna lose to the Cowboys, and then we're gonna be 2-4, right? And then we're gonna face the Jets. If we don't beat the Jets,
Oh God. Oh
if
boy.
because we
God.
barely beat the Jets last time. Even though they threw 2 interceptions, we barely beat them.
Right, as
Yeah.
lousy and as shitty as they played.
If we don't beat the Jets, man, I
we
don't know
have
how
to
much.
dominate them. I don't just want like a close, you know what I'm saying, like game, kind of like what it was, when we played them, a few weeks ago. We need to dominate and destroy and annihilate the New York Jets when we play them in a couple weeks. But getting to this Cowboys or Cowgirls, excuse me, as I like to say.
Barry, make it quick, because
Yeah, I will. I think we have a slim chance of upsetting the
any
Dallas
given Sunday.
Cowgirls. A slim chance. I mean, because if we can get Jalen Mills back, and have obviously another week for Jamie Collins, and that front seven can get it together as well as that secondary, because the defense is gonna have to play great, and like they did against Tampa, if they can perform at that level, you know what I'm saying, that like they did, and J.C. Jackson can actually get his head out of his ass and actually cover somebody and act like he knows what to do when the ball's thrown his way, because he's going to be covering Amari Cooper. So you're going to have your hands free. You're going to need to do the same thing, J.C. Jackson, you did when you covered Mike Evans a couple weeks ago. The same exact thing. Be physical, bump and run, jam at the line of scrimmage. You know what I'm saying? Play good, tight coverage and good technique. Now, for the offense, I was just going to say we need the or defense also. I wanted to say Matt Judon has continued to do what he's doing. He reminds me of that Lil Wayne line where he says he's a beast, he's a dog, he's a motherfucking problem. Okay, You're a goon. What's a goon to a goblin? So that's how I perfectly describe Matt Judon. He needs to continue to do that, and the other guys have to step up too and follow his lead. Now for the offense, they simply got to let Mac Jones cook, because I don't know how much I trust this running game, because it's not really, as effective as we thought it would be, at this point. So they got to, let Mac Jones do his thing. McDaniels actually have some trust and some confidence and call some plays that are going to get him into a rhythm, get, his confidence up, get him going. And and actually, let him make plays, take some shots down the field, man. Like, open up the playbook. Like, let's, actually run, some good offensive plays here. That, because we're gonna need to score points, because the Cowboys are gonna score points. So if we're gonna have any chance of pulling out this upset, we need to score points, move the football down the field, and look to make big plays and be aggressive. And attack that secondary, because the Dallas defense is still, it's better than what it was last year, but they're not great either. So we can, be able to, attack that secondary and attack the defense and, and take advantage of, that weakness that they have on that side of the ball. And I think we do have a chance to, to beat and upset the Cowgirls next week. So, hopefully we can see a good competitive game, this coming week, with the Patriots, and they don't just get their asses handed to them.
I agree with a lot of your points, man. And I mean, with that said, man, we'll check out what happens, and we'll report back to you guys in the upcoming week. Until then, this was episode 81?
81.
Episode 81.
Randy Moss, baby.
There you go.
Randy Moss.
Well, 84 Anyway.
Well, I got 81 with the Pats.
Right,
I'm talking when he
81
was with the Pats. Right,
I get
right,
it.
right.
I get it. But yeah, man, if you're watching, make sure you're subscribing, please. That's helping support us, and we're trying to get to the next level here. So until episode 82, man, we'll holler at y'all. Peace out.
Peace out.
Peace. Have a good week, everyone. See y'all next week. Go Pats.